Episode 56 of Star Trek, Season 3, Episode 1 of TOS, Spock's Brain. One that is completely ridiculed, and I think the ridicule might be a bit over the top, having watched it now. The concept of a really advanced race coming along and stealing somebody's brain to run a computer is probably okay. The people who are there have regressed quite a bit, so they have to use what's called the teacher, which is basically a perspex helmet with spiky things in it, and that puts the knowledge into their head. That gives them enough knowledge to be able to remove the brain and put it into the computer for just long enough that they when they need it, and then it fades away again. It's like an advanced version of what Jack O'Neill has in Stargate, where it takes the Asgards to come away and remove the knowledge because it was going to melt his brain otherwise. So because the knowledge fades, it's actually better than that. Different franchise. Yeah, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. They're desperate to keep on the brain later on. We get an interesting discussion around that because basically they're saying that the needs of the many of the people of the planet outweighs the needs of Spock himself. They don't quite use those words, but it's kind of hinted at. It's really good, actually. And in this case, like it's they're murdering Spock for it, so you can't really. There's never justification for even one death that way. That's Kirk's argument, which is fair enough because later on when we get the needs of the many stuff, it's self-sacrifice, so it's different. Yeah, the silly stuff in this episode is things like McCoy being able to remote control Spock's body. The fact that the body is going to last 24 hours without its brain, even off of the life support. The other silly thing is when McCoy's putting the brain back in Spock's body. Now, him using the teacher is fine. He gets the knowledge for a while. It's when it starts fading away, and the solution to this isn't to plug McCoy back into the teacher again, because that's a concern. Might not work. They connect Spock's vocal cords up so he can help put his brain back in. That's probably even more silly than the robot Spock, to be honest. But yeah, it's a good episode. I think Kirk comes into his own in this one as well. It does really well. With the whole has to trust his gut over which planet they're going to be on, because there's one planet that's developed up to like 1400 standard. There's one in the 2030s, I think was what they said, and then the last one was a glacial one that didn't really have any advancements on it at all. But that's where the signal comes from, so he trusts his gut and goes with the signal. So that's good. There's not a lot of Prime Directive in this one. That none of they shouldn't be talking to these people. Well, arguably they should because they've been spacefaring, but they don't really know it. So I guess they don't find that out until after they're on the planet. So we'll get Prime Directive. We can maybe argue around that one. The whole thing about the morgue and the eye morgues on the planet with the women living underground and the men living on the top, and the women basically giving both pain and pleasure to the men. That made me laugh. Yeah, it's just a 3 out of 5. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. It really isn't. Give it a go.